While you can definitely be a decent player by having cracked movement and aim, understanding legend strengths and weaknesses, and building a team comp that has legends that cover all the critical roles is crucial to become a high-level player. What's up, guys? It's Valued, and today we're going to talk about the best team comps in Season 11 and exactly what makes them so strong. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Having a well-rounded team comp is something a ton of squads do not pay enough attention to. While you totally can pick 3 random legends and win some games, having a squad that has a firm identity while being well-rounded is key. Mobility, information, and defenses of some type are the 3 biggest things that you look for in a squad, and a lot of legends can fill these roles. This being said, if you don't have each of these things in your team or a very defined identity in your squad, then you'll definitely struggle against good players. Every game you play, you should know the strengths of the legends on your squad and the tools at their disposal. Your team comp can open up a ton of potential plays, rotations, and ways to play the game. So putting a focus on synergies within your team is a great way to get advantages in-game. Even in solo queue, you should be looking at your squad, analyzing your legend strengths, and using this info to influence your plan in-game. If you have a couple of legends that you're comfortable with, pick the one that meshes best with the picks that your team went with. And if you have a legend you like to stick to, take note of how your pick fits in with your 2 teammates. Even if you can't build the perfect team, understanding what your team is good at and how to execute will have you coming out on top a lot more. But what if you were building the best team? Maybe you're running with a 3-stack or see your teammates lock in 2/3 of the perfect squad. What would that squad look like? Well, let's go into some of the best comps right now for ranked, pubs, and arena and talk about exactly how they should be played and exactly why they're so successful. Before we hop right into the list, if you're looking to be the type of player that can pilot any legend in any team, then you have got to check out ProGuides.com. There, you can find some of the highest rated players ready to help coach you instantly to teach you how to be the player you know you can be. From playing any legend to helping you perfectly understand your role in the game, if you want to be carrying your squad in any of these team comps, make sure to check out the top link in the description below. So guys, from pushing nonstop in pubs to bunkering down in ranked and everything in between, let's talk team comps. Starting off with ranked team comps, these teams should be well-rounded with some sort of team mobility being highly valued. These games have teams playing very seriously, so having a team that has very few weaknesses is important to make sure you aren't taken advantage of in these games. Well-rounded is the name of the game here. And starting us off, we have the perfectly rounded comp, Valkyrie, Gibraltar, and Wraith. This team has everything you could ask for except scans. It has beacon usage and a big mobility ult with Valkyrie, on-demand defenses with Gibby's bubble, and a strong scout that brings discreet mobility with Wraith. This is arguably one of the strongest comps in the game, with some teams opting to go Bloodhound instead of Valk for extra info. This team is specialized at everything, and they can do anything. If you're looking for a team that has tools available for just about every situation in-game, then this is the squad you want to go with. Next up, we have Caustic, Gibby, and Valk making up a little bit more of a defensive roster. Caustic comes in place of the in-combat mobility of Wraith, and this makes the squad very specialized in locking down locations. With Caustic making buildings a hazard for any enemy team to navigate, and Gibby having even more on-demand defense if needed, this can be a really hard squad to take down. Having Valkyrie helps to make sure the squad always has good ring position to bunker down, and her ability to take height quickly lets her play these fights very creatively with these 2 defensive legends. What this comp lacks in scans or mobility, it makes up for in defense. So, if you're looking to get center ring and make a push for late game, this squad is a great option for you. Moving on to our next comp, we've got Loba, Bloodhound, and Valkyrie. Loba makes her first appearance, working well with this team's scans and info gathered to allow smart and safe black markets. This team can Valkyrie into a new location, scan for enemies, and instantly get the best loot with black market. This team is a mobility, loot grabbing, enemy scanning machine and can be a great option for teams that are looking to get well kitted and then take fights. Now, with this comp, you don't have the raw defenses of some of these other comps so far, so you've got to play smart with the intel from your scans and win your fights with your extra loot. But if you can do that, it makes for a quick moving and dynamic squad. And for our last ranked squad, we've got another defensive comp that can be deadly. You take Rampart and Gibby with either a Valk or a Wraith to back them up. The Valk gives you more map mobility, while the Wraith gives you more flexibility with your portal. Rampart and Gibby make for a really strong combo, with Rampart setting up on high ground to hold the fort, and Gibby having his bubble and ult if you know you're getting pushed. Knowing that you have a Gibby to bubble, Rampart can play really aggressive angles with Sheila, and between Rampart walls, bubble, and defensive bombardment, this team can be really hard to push. So, if you can keep good ring position and keep pressure on enemy teams, you can seriously ruin some lobbies. Alright, now let's move on to a couple of team comps that will have you straight pub stomping in your normal matches. These squads specialize in wiping teams off the map quickly, and they thrive in long, hectic gunfights. The first one is all about going fast. Octane, Wraith, and Pathfinder all have great mobility. Each of these legends can take care of themselves, getting away from danger, or just outplay enemies when needed. This is exactly what you should be looking for in a pub game. If all three players' mechanics are on point, this squad can be a menace, being everywhere at once and never being able to be caught out by third parties coming in. If you're feeling saucy and want to put together the streamer squad, then this is the one. And if you're still looking to dominate the lobby, but want a few more tools at your disposal than raw mobility, this next one is for you. Gibby, Bloodhound, and Octane make for a nice, well-rounded team that still has a ton of speed. Gibby brings that much-needed on-demand defense, and with Octane, he can make some pretty sweet pushes with pad. Octane and Bloodhound are both great at hunting down kills, with Bloodhound bringing their scans to help Octane do those Octane things. This team is still very aggressive, but with the scans and a Gibby, you have a lot more options if you get surprised by a squad or find yourself in a losing fight. And to close it all out, from popular demand in the comments, let's touch on a few arena comps that can help you climb. These teams are going to be more focused, looking to share strengths and play out the fight in a more specific way. The first comp is Bloodhound, Gibby, and Lifeline. And they're looking to play together aggressively, but keeping their distance enough to pop bubble and res if things go south. Gibby bubble makes Lifeline pretty insane in arenas, and Bloodhound scan helps you know exactly where enemies are. If Bloodhound gets Beast of the Hunt, you can look to push, but most rounds you're looking to apply a ton of pressure using Gibby and Lifeline to bail yourself out of any bad situations and pushing ones that you get an advantage in. Pathfinder, Bloodhound, and Bangalore make up the next comp, which is all about smokes and speed. Bang can make the battlefield hectic, and Bloodhounds can scan for their teammates to make more aggressive moves. Pathfinder's grapple lets him play really fast as well, and overall you can look to separate enemies with smokes and play really fast for the first knock. If you guys want a tip with this one, you can use a Digi-Threat on a Mozam very early and for very cheap. So with this comp, you should try to get this anytime you can. If you're looking for an aggressive, push-focused arena comp, then this is a great one. And finally, one for my friends who like ultimate defense in a squad. Gibby and Lifeline do their thing once again here, with Rampart being added over Bloodhound. This squad can hold down some high rounds, and they can be really tough to fight with all of the defensive abilities. Just make sure you have ring priority so they have to push into you, and this squad will get you some wins if you follow this win con. While you may not always have teammates who want to play that legend that perfectly rounds out your comp, if you can do your best to have an identity for your squad, it will do you wonders in game. If your teammate wants to play Watson instead of Caustic or Ashe instead of Wraith, well, we can make that work. It can be tough to get these perfect team comps unless you're in a 3-stack pre-made. But I bet you can get awfully close in almost every single game you play if you pick your legend accordingly. And I know that if you try out the comps we talked about today and play them to their strengths, you'll be dominating in your games. So guys, I want to know, which comp from today are you going to try out in your matches? Or do you have a comp that you think is OP? Let me know in the comments below. As always, it's been your boy Valued. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.